changed over time. And the fact that, for all we know, he could have been a Buddhist. Doing a lot of his teachings were very Indian in nature, and including the fact that his ideas about live and let live, and love your neighbor, turn the other cheek. Very, very Buddhist ideas.
Right.
And including, I see it all over the internet, including YouTube. The big thing is just like, a lot of these documentaries, like, Jesus was a Buddhist teacher, like crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Who knows? I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I can simply go for the evidence that I have now. Some of the evidence is contradictory. Like, certain towns that he visited or was born in didn't exist until about 30 years after he died. That sounds sketchy. Or maybe the names were changed. We're not entirely sure. Well, we know the Romans were really, what's the word I want to use? They loved keeping records.
Yeah.
They were good at that. That was like one of their things. And, there's no record of his name. Or at least of the name that we call him. That's just simply how my view of it. For all we know, was a real person. I can't tell you he wasn't.
No, fair. Here, I'll kind of bring it back to the Bible for a second and throw this in your way. Jesus, again, like in the Bible at least, he would say things like, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man can come to the Father except through me. About the morality thing, he said things like, if you even look at a woman with lust in your heart, you've committed adultery with her. Yeah. And he said, in my name only will you find salvation. So some pretty hard things, but how could you know that he said that? There is some historical evidence too outside of the Bible that says he existed.
That I don't know. There is some. That's what
yep. And like Josephus spoke of him. He was Jewish. Polycarp spoke of him.
We like him too much. Or at least a lot of them did.
But here's what I want to say. This is what I'm about to say. Tell me who you think this sounds like, and you'll probably be able to guess. But tell me who you think this sounds like. He is despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and familiar with sufferings. Like one from whom we hide our faces, he was despised and we esteemed him not. Surely he has taken our infirmities and carried our sorrows. Yet we consider him stricken by God, smitten by him and afflicted. To each of us we've turned our own way, but God has laid on him the iniquity of us all. Who does that sound like? Who comes to mind when you hear something like that?
Yeah, it sounds like
Jesus, right?
Yeah.
The thing about that verse and quote was that was written by the prophet Isaiah 600 years before he came.
It was. Well, there's also a problem with that too. Is that there's something, including if let's just say that Jesus was a real person. Let's just we're automatically assuming.
So, do you believe that there's a God?
I believe there's a higher power. I've labeled myself non-denominational.
Okay.
Only because I don't feel that you should have a specific time and place or a person to worship.
Okay. Where would you say our morality comes from?
Morality, I think, comes from just our own inner thoughts, really.
Inner thoughts? Okay.
And sheer human curiosity.
Okay.
Trying to find ourselves constantly in a daily struggle to understand everything that we can.
Do you believe that there's an afterlife?
Actually, yes, I do believe there's an afterlife.
What would you say is in the afterlife? What happens?
I actually highly believe in reincarnation.
Reincarnation?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that you have to spend a little bit of time in kind of a limbo to be able to figure out what your next life is going to be. So.
Okay, awesome, great. The universe was said to begin to exist about 13.7 billion years ago. What happened there? How did that begin? Is there something that started, or what's your thought on that?
To be honest, I think I believe in the Big Bang Theory. However, I can also see from other standpoints on how the Big Bang Theory scientifically ties in with the religious, like Christianity and stuff.
Awesome. Great stuff, man. So, do you believe that there's a God?
I believe there is an energy, or possibly, like, not really a being, but an energy that people sometimes refer to as God.
Okay. So when you say the term religion, you say that there's no one true religion?
No, I believe every religion has the same undercurrent running through it. So I don't believe in a religion, I believe in religion.
Religion, okay. Do you believe that there's an afterlife?
I believe that we, not so much an afterlife, we transform to somewhere.
Okay. Do you say that the earth that we live in, the universe that we live in, was it created at one point, or has it always been here?
Well, that's a deep one.
So you get the details.
It's kind of hard to answer that one because some people believe in cause and effect.
Yep.
But if that was the effect, if the creation was an effect, what was the cause? And if it's a cause, it's what affected that cause. Because every cause comes from an effect.
Right. Awesome. You believe that there's a God?
I think there's a higher power. I don't really specifically go for one religion. I just believe in that there's someone leading me to whatever opportunities I have. I don't think it's completely up to my control to do anything.
Do you believe that there's one such thing as absolute truth?
I think it's difficult to say because I don't know. I'm kind of a skeptic and I'm kind of not. I want to say I'm a believer. I don't know too much about it. I just believe in that there's someone guiding me in somewhere. I don't really have a specific view on it.
Do you believe that there's an afterlife?
I don't know. I feel like Earth is your afterlife. I feel like if you do yourself your life well enough and you impact the people that you can, then your afterlife is your present.
The Bible. Have you ever read it, or what are your thoughts on the Bible?
I'm pretty sure I have 5 of them. I've never opened it. I've never I'm not a reader. Even God, I'm not even gonna. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll read it, but right now I don't really care for it.
What are your thoughts on Jesus Christ?
I feel like he's kind of become a gimmick now, especially with fashion and stuff. How you see the crosses, just girls wearing it, and they have no significance as to what it actually means. And I think that's almost an insult to him because I don't completely believe in him, but I don't obviously deny him as well, his presence. But I think to have that just kind of been thrown around here and there, they don't see the value in it at all. I think it's kind of he's losing the real focus, he's losing the focus of what he actually means.
So, friend, do you believe in an afterlife?
No, not personally.
No, okay. Would you say that there's something like God or a higher power?
I don't believe in one. I'm open to the idea that there might be one. It's just I don't have any evidence for it.
Okay.
So it seems to me there's a million different choices I could have for a personal God, and each of them kind of wants to send me to hell if I don't believe in them. So I'm just going to try to be a good person, and if I get to heaven and somehow God is there and he's like, oh shit, you didn't believe me, I'd be like, well, I tried my best.
What would count as proof for you? What would count as evidence for you?
As evidence of God being real? I don't think there really is any evidence other than me actually dying and seeing one, because all of that could be chalked up to personal hallucination. It's not disprovable and it's not provable. It's just something that can't really be proved or disproven, in my opinion.
What are your thoughts on the Bible?
On the Bible? Sketchy. It's got very contradicting things about morality. If you look at some of the things that happen in the Bible, there's these rules about just ridiculous things that nobody would really consider morally correct these days. So I think it's a good storybook. It's good as a mythology, as a series of stories. It's definitely interesting, and I think the teachings of Jesus were actually fairly good. I actually like the stories of Jesus. He seems like a pretty stand-up guy. I just don't like a lot of the other stuff in it.
So, do you think that there's a God?
Yeah.
Let's get that. Why do you think that there's a God?
Oh, well, creation proves that there's a creator. Everything made has something that made it.
Okay. Why do you believe that Jesus Christ is the only way?
Because it's the only consistent viewpoint that fulfills God's justice and to be forgiven of their sins. Jesus died for evil people and satisfied God's justice on the cross, and that's because of that, God can justly forgive a sinner. He can be loving and just at the same time. That's the only consistent viewpoint that makes sense.
So, truth. Do you believe that there's such a thing called absolute truth?
I've never been entirely sure about it, but I personally think there is, because despite the fact, just because you weren't there to see it doesn't mean it didn't happen. And that's about as far as I go into it. If I go any farther, I'll be sitting here in a loop talking.
What's your thought on religion in general?
To me, religion was a system based on simply trying to understand the world. Basically, it was like science 0.5. It was sort of a precursor to trying to understand ourselves and understand the universe. That's how I see it.
What is your thought on evolution, in particular macroevolution?
Macroevolution, you're talking about...
Man coming from ape.
Well, there seems to be a lot of evidence for it, and I'm a big fan of empirical, demonstrable evidence. And I simply, I use this concept all the time that I don't think I'm actually smart. I simply just go where the evidence says, and it makes me look smart. Yeah.
Do you believe that there's a God?
You know what? Personally, I don't believe there's a God, but I believe there was a higher power back when, like a governor.
Okay. Do you believe there's an afterlife?
An afterlife. At the most sense, just like an animal, I don't believe there's an afterlife. We die and move on. I've heard there's extra power, like your static energy, and that's about it. That's what I find.
That's fine. What is your view on morality? Do you think that there's absolute morality, or is morality subjective?
You know what? There's morality. It just depends on who's in power of it.
Okay, no, that's good. That's a good question. We got our buddy preaching right now. What are your thoughts on the Bible? What are your thoughts on Christians in general?
You know what? It's a paid service. He sits out here, preach. The church gets power, and then the next thing you know, they get money because you're sitting there 10% wage. That's my personal belief as of now, but back when was the same thing.
What are your thoughts on Jesus Christ?
Jesus Christ, personally?
Say whatever you want.
He was a power back when, and now, who's our power? The governor. Whoever you may believe, whether it's America, Canada, you know, it's whoever's in power now is that.